Hey guys, what is up? It's Seki here back with another video, and today guys, we're going to be going ahead and comparing the Galaxy S10 and the iPhone XR in terms of the performance, the display, battery, design, and everything else in between to give a full scale comparison. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So starting off for the performance, I'm going to be going ahead and testing out very graphic intensifying games like Fortnite, PUBG, Asphalt 9, and NBA 2K Mobile. Starting off for Asphalt 9 on mobile, which quite resembles its counterpart on consoles, the iPhone XR performed extremely well. The frame rate stayed consistent and the graphics were great. However, on the S10, the graphics are way worse and the frame rate stay at only around 30 FPS, which isn't bad but definitely not on point with the iPhone XR. It's also the same story with both NBA 2K Mobile and PUBG, even on the same graphic settings. Now I am assuming that it's just because Android does not have the same optimization as iOS, but one game that is really well optimized is definitely Fortnite. Although not too much difference in actual gameplay, you can definitely see that browsing through the UIs on the S10 is much smoother than the XR. Fortnite definitely is a game that does show all the powers of the new S10. After that, we're going to be going ahead and running Geekbench 4, which runs tests on the CPU, and also Antutu's benchmark, which is going to be testing more of the GPU. Running Geekbench 4, which is mostly CPU intensive, we saw the S10 having a single core score of 4,496 and a multi-score of 9,918. On the other hand, the iPhone XR has a single core score of 4,834 and a multi-score of 11,432. That is definitely a notable difference in terms of the benchmarks alone, but later we'll be doing some real-world tests to show more accurately of what the performance is actually like. Next, while running Antutu's benchmarks, which is more GPU intensive, the S10 got a score of 322,670 and the XR got a score of 295,298. Again, not a huge difference, but definitely notable. Anyways, next we're gonna be going ahead and doing some real world tests. So for our real world tests, we're gonna be going ahead and opening a series of apps that people use on a daily basis and see which one loads first. Starting off with some games, for Fortnite, although it seemed as if the XR was actually gonna open it first, the S10 eventually got past the XR and loaded it almost 10 seconds faster. For PUBG on the other hand, it seemed like iOS optimization really did help it, and PUBG was able to be loaded a lot faster on the XR compared to the S10. Next, for some apps that people open on a daily basis, we're going to be going ahead and opening Instagram, in which the S10 was faster again, but by no more than 2 or 4 seconds. For Chrome, it is still the same story, with the S10 being loaded a few seconds faster than the XR. After that, for the camera, it did seem like both loaded at around the same time, but that is to be expected since they are each on their own software. And finally for Amazon, it did seem like the S10 was a couple seconds ahead as well. In the end, just with specs, the S10 has a whopping 8GB of RAM, which is as much as most mid-tier laptops today, while the iPhone XR has barely 3GB. I would say for the iPhone XR to not already be completely destroyed by the S10 in this test is very impressive. Although the S10 was still faster, most apps didn't usually take longer than 10 seconds to load on the XR. For the camera, the S10 features 3 different cameras on the back, one for telephoto and one for wide angle. That means that you can zoom all the way in without losing quality and also be able to zoom all the way out. The XR only features one camera that does do the job, but it's definitely inferior to the S10's. For the design, the S10 has an almost completely bezel-less front, with the exception of the camera and the triple camera setup on the back. The iPhone XR on the other hand has a huge notch on the front with minimal bezels on all sides and one big camera on the back with a huge camera bump. Both the phones also have a glass back to support wireless charging, and with the S10 being able to act like a wireless charger, which means that I could technically use the S10 to charge my iPhone. The display of the S10 also houses a fingerprint sensor that you can use to unlock the phone, and plus you can also use your face to unlock it versus only being able to unlock the iPhone XR with Face ID. Both of them also have a 6.1-inch display, however the iPhone XR is thicker and noticeably heavier. Overall, I think that both are pretty equal in terms of the design, but I definitely do like the almost bezel-less display found on the S10. For the display, the S10 features a gorgeous AMOLED panel that has a resolution of 1440 by 3040. The iPhone XR on the other hand features only a LED display that is 828 by 1792, which is barely HD. Thanks to all that technology, you can also have the always on display on the S10, which you can customize with the time, date, notifications, and etc. Best of all, because the screen is OLED, it also uses minimal battery. Right now, I'm gonna go in and play some videos on both the iPhone XR and S10 so that you can see the difference. So as you guys can see, the S10 is definitely way brighter than the XR, and although not clear on camera, if you do compare the S10 and XR up close, the display on the S10 is drastically better. Anyways, in the end, I definitely do think that the S10 is better in terms of the performance and much better in terms of the camera and display. However, I think that for the average user, the iPhone XR should be fine, and the speed definitely isn't an issue. Because of the $200 price jump from the $749 64GB iPhone XR to the $899 S10 at 128GB. Although you can't argue that at 128GB, the iPhone XR is $799, and at 256GB, the iPhone XR costs just as much as its S10. Most people really do only need 64GB just for apps, since you can always back up your photos for completely free on something like Google Photos. However, unless you desperately just need more storage on your phone, the S10 is a way better deal with tiny bits of performance boost but huge improvements in terms of the camera quality and the display. However, do know that if you already have an iPhone, a lot of apps are not as optimized on Android compared to iOS, especially as we saw with the games like Asphalt 9, in which Samsung even advertises on their website but performs poorly with worse graphics than the XR and locked at 30 FPS. Switching to Android does have some upsides like being able to multitask and also have more customizing features. If you desperately need more storage and have a high demand in camera quality, the S10 is a clear winner. However, if you've been using iOS and don't need too much storage and also don't demand a high quality camera, the iPhone XR is better because of its cheaper value just for those things. So anyways guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. This is a little longer video today, so if you guys would like to see more tech videos just like this, make sure to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next video.